What I think is interesting is Bitcoin has gotten as far as it has, like with fighting with one hand behind its back. And what I mean by that is there hasn't been, like, there still is not like a perfect kind of bridge to, like, quote unquote, use your Bitcoin. And I know, like, savings is using and like investing in it is using, like, totally. I agree with that. But I think people are wanting more. Like, people are wanting more, and it's like this, the years are starting to stack up. There we go. The years are starting to stack up. Like, it's been a lot of years now of like, stay humble, stack sats, stay humble, stack sats. And we've done it. We've like stacked the hell out of it. And that's how I feel. Like, I'm like, dude, we crushed it. Like, we crushed it, and we're at like touching an all-time high again. And it's awesome. Like, life is good. Like, life is super good. And now I'm like dreaming about the next phase. And the next phase to me is not like an ambiguous, like 15, 20 years in the future, like our grandkid. Like, it's not that. Like, I'm like, 2 to 2.5 years from now, like, I don't want to like be moving to my legacy checking account anymore. Like, I'm like very much like, I feel like we're on the doorstep of like Bitcoin being a literal day-to-day alternative to logging into like your legacy world bank. Okay. And that doesn't mean banks are going to go away. It doesn't mean the dollar's going to go away. It's not, again, I'm not like, I'm trying to like make it very tangible, and I'm trying to do this for my own brain, like very, very tangible. What does it look like for the bucket of my personal finances to become more and more full with Bitcoin instead of dollars? And extrapolating for a second, like protocols like DeFi replacing centralized like companies, like protocols doing this all on chain, and programmatic money doing programmatic things between individuals without the need for centralized institutions. That's awesome. Like, on paper, that's legitimately awesome. I just think there's so much like distraction and noise and stuff all the way around it that it's hard to see sometimes. And it's hard to, there's a lot of talking past each other of people that are like all about it, people that are skeptical, people that have been burned by it. But just like zooming out, protocols replacing centralized institutions and Bitcoin wallets replacing bank accounts is great. Like, that is great. And that's within striking distance if there's a bridge back to using Bitcoin in your day-to-day. I'll even widen it for a second, even broader than that too. Stablecoins, like stablecoins crush it, and their volume is hard to argue with. Like, you can't argue with it. You can't argue that stablecoins have found product market fit and people want them. All over the world, the ability to send a dollar unit to and from person without needing to set up different accounts at all these random places or have it wait till Monday to actually move, or like ACH schedules and all that stuff. Like, stablecoins move faster than the ACH network. Like, that is an improvement. Okay. And so Bitcoin combined with stablecoins, combined with protocols being better than centralized institutions, all of that is good and is happening. It needs a bridge back to our day-to-day bills. And I know it's not sexy to talk about bills. People, when I bring up like paying bills with Bitcoin and all that stuff, like people just like yawn and shut it off or whatever. But it's sparking a little bit of excitement more lately than normal. And look, I'm not perfect on this. Like, I don't pay, sitting here right here today, I'm not trying to be like, guys, I pay all my bills with Bitcoin and like, you need to start doing, like, that's not. I had a string of like doing all the way manual down to zero through an exchange for like a little bit for a few months. But honestly, it's hard. Like, honestly, it's hard because we need joint accounts. Like, I need a joint account place for multiple family members to be working and depositing to Bitcoin because I can't manually do my finances anymore. Okay. So when I talk about like paying bills with Bitcoin, I understand that there's friction. I understand there's capital gains friction. I understand that there's exchange friction, all that stuff. That's the bridge I'm talking about. That's the Bitcoin bridge I'm talking about. That will be game over for legacy, because currently that legacy finance, and I'm saying legacy finance in a neutral way, not even in like a banks are bad way, in like a neutral, just like, like Web 2 versus Web 3 kind of way. Like, that's how banking was done. Banking was done Monday through Friday. Even here's a non-Bitcoin example. Robinhood app just came out with 24/7 stock trading, okay? So everything is pushing towards this, like, we want it faster, we want it in real time. We want it faster, we want it in real time. Stablecoins do that for dollars. And then I take it a step further of like, I don't want to use stablecoins even. Like I want to be all in on Bitcoin, and I want that option to be all in Bitcoin as my money, but then backwards compatibility to pay my mortgage, to pay off my credit card, to send $100 to a friend for dinner. Like that's what I want. And I'm not the only one, by the way. Like this is growing. Like the drumbeat of this is growing, and lots of different people are saying this with their own words, which is awesome. It's better when it's not just like one person's word or one person's variation of saying it. Like this is coming from a lot of different angles, a lot of different sides. And want to know something? This is it also, back in the day, like payments companies and like point of sale companies were actually the most well-financed Bitcoin startups. Like that was a big movement for a lot of times. And I say this thing where I say it with kindness. I say this with kindness. OG Bitcoiners were great at talking about Bitcoin. They were really great at talking about Bitcoin. They were really bad at talking about personal finance. Like they were not good at translating the personal finance like advice or how they were thinking about Bitcoin towards new users, because the concept that some early OG Bitcoiners had of like, Bitcoin is now my money and I buy dollars when I need to. And a lot of that was through like the meetups and peer-to-peer trading and BISC and things like that. Like that doesn't scale, right? Like the hip, like sound like the startup person, like that method of buying dollars when you need them, that method of buying dollars doesn't scale, but the concept does. The concept of like buy dollars when you need them, or like hold Bitcoin as your money but have backwards compatibility, that scales. And something that like OG Bitcoiners intuitively knew, and newer, I shouldn't put an exact class on it, but something that some Bitcoiners know is that just Bitcoin is straight up better than holding dollars. Some people just believe that back in napkin math. Other people want it, you know, like all the way proved out, all the way down to the penny, all the way down to the sat, like proved out. So wherever you are on that spectrum, whether it's just kind of a gut feeling that you're down with or whatever. I'm trying to wrap this up in between the gardening and the neighbor's house. To wrap it up, it's like, whether you're on the side of wanting the math all the way dialed in of like base money Bitcoin or like living on Bitcoin, or you want to just like, you don't super believe the math yet, so you believe in kind of like the stablecoin / Bitcoin like future or whatever, totally, like whatever, like the people that are already doing that today are having a hard time explaining it, because there isn't like one solution that gives a bridge back to legacy bills. Like even if you found the best DeFi protocol ever or whatever for your stablecoin to sit in, and it's better than the money market fund of the thing, or whether you're like, I manually run my checking account all the way down to $0 every single month, and I just hold Bitcoin at my exchange and in my wallet, like both those, like whether you're in either of those camps, like having a smoother path back to paying the mortgages, paying the credit cards, paying the kids stuff, paying the car payments, paying what we need to do day to day in like IRL is game over for legacy. It's game over for legacy, because then there's an actual reason to delete your old banking app, and you're saying like you're literally not keeping up with it. You call them customer service, you say you're literally not keeping up with the times, you're literally not upgrading your money software, and I've found a better place to use as my financial hub.